I did. It was kids
No West. I could finish.
This is the one he was right here, and like all the way over here. And he crossed it over here.
I did.
Okay, how are we, folks? Tired? I'm tired. Losing an hour really is messing me up, you know? So, today, we are going to talk about the Mughal Empire. Right?
Where the dogs at?
Where the dogs at. So, we're going to do that, and then because we're coming up to the end of the quarter, I will give you guys some time to do any missing assignments.
Which need to be in like ASAP because your grades need to be in this afternoon.
Yeah. So, do it quick. We'll get through this, and then we'll do that.
Raylan can't afford to miss any more teeth after me because mom mad already.
So, the Mughals, what do we know? What do we know? What do we know? What
They were Muslims.
do we know? They were Muslims living in India, right? Was Islam the dominant religion in India at this time? Hindu.
Was Gandhi alive during this or no?
No, Gandhi was alive in the 20th century, in like the 40s or something.
I thought he was like a little older.
No. Gandhi was much later. So,
Did they establish?
oh, of course. We got an empire. Of course, we're going to be doing trading. What do you think this is? So, similar to the Ottomans and Safavids, can we please cut down the talking? Thank you. The Mughals built a powerful army with guns, cannons, and war elephants. Because elephants are huge and very populous in India. There are a lot of elephants in India, some in China, a lot in Africa. It's different. There's African elephants and Asian elephants, right? So they have a lot there. Right, Brendan? Totally. All right. So they are the third of our gunpowder empires, right? The Ottomans, the Safavids, and the Mughals. And they used that to take over India. Da, da, da. So, in 1494, Babur became king of the Mughals and expanded the army, right? We are now moving into... We are moving into India, right? So we're going from the Himalayas and in Afghanistan, Persia, those areas, down into Delhi, and eventually into the entire continent, except for a little corner at the very end there. Well, hello. How are we?
I'm great.
So, then Babur's grandson became king about 100 years later, or 50 years later, expanded the empire to almost all of India, right? And because it is a Muslim ruler, but a predominantly Hindu country, and take your pot out, do we think that there's a lot of religious toleration?
I like beef.
There is, right? Because if you are part of the minority but you're ruling the country, would it be smart of you to not allow people to practice the religion that they have for hundreds of years? Probably not smart, right? So you allow them to practice their religion, and we will call this blending of culture what? That'll be the only thing you guys remember from this class. I can't wait.
Somebody 35 and
Yeah. You're going to wake up with a cold sweat.
Cultural infusion.
So he had religious discussions with Hindu and Muslim scholars, ended the tax that non-Muslims were required to pay. Let's stop talking. How many times am I going to have to ask today? One more will be too many, right? So,
The first one's too many.
I agree with that, Danny. That's a good observation. So he created a fair and affordable tax system, allowed non-Muslims to worship freely, and had many wives. And many of these wives were Muslim, Hindu, and Christian, right? He's all over the place. This guy does not care what... that I know of? No. But who's to say, really? It was 500 years ago, you know? They also had a new religion called the Divine Faith. This is an example of syncretism. What do you think syncretism means? Yeah, we're coming together, right? We're blending ideas from all of these different religions. So Islam, yeah, we're getting it, right? Islam, Hinduism, Christianity, and Zoroastrianism, which was huge in like the Middle East and like Persia.
Now, once you think about that, those religions, do they like to have other people mess with their religions? How do you think this is going to go?
Very well. Only good things are coming, right? So Akbar hoped that this would end conflicts between these religious groups. Did this happen? No, of course not. So it never attracted many converts from these religions, right? So he was kind of on his own, just doing his own thing. And so when he died, the faith died with him. R.I.P. Right? RIP. So during his reign, art flourished. You see a lot of very colorful paintings at this time, right? There's a lot of dyes that can be used with paint, right? Yeah, different flowers and different things like that. You grind them up and put them in paint. There's little paintings called miniatures. There's also this enormous building in India called the Taj Mahal, right? It was blended of Hindu and Islamic designs. Can you see maybe what some of the Islamic designs might have been?
The circle thing.
What do you guys think that is?
A mosque.
There's a mosque in it.
What's a big deal?
It's a whole complex. So there is a mosque in it, but
What's the main purpose of it?
Prayer.
What?
To guard people.
Prayer?
Religion.
when we were talking about the pyramids, what were those for?
The deaf.
A burial.
So, Shah Jahan's wife, whose name was Mahal, last name Mahal, right? She was buried there. He was eventually buried there as well, right? So there is a mosque on site, right? It does have a mosque, but it's also a tomb,
Now,
and it is one of the wonders of the world.
here's one of the funny things about this. Ladies, she was one of 10 wives. Did any of the other wives get something like this?
Yes. PG.
She was the favored wife. Now, the plan was, but his children didn't do it. See this big body of water right up front? On the other end, there was supposed to be a black version of the exact same thing. Like, to contrast, his kids kept the money and never built it for him. They just buried him in there.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, it's probably his other wives that were kind of chopped.
Right. Exactly. So you do see a lot of that blending, right? We have different elements from Islam and Hindu, but as time goes on, the 1700s, the empire grew weak because they spent money on palaces and war. And war costs a lot of money. Why? Pay soldiers. You also need what?
Weapons.
Weapons. Yup. And finally, you need
Slaves.
you do need people.
Cartoon please.
Food. Ding 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 ding. You need food, right? So when you're spending money on that and on palaces, right? You don't need just one palace. If if you're the king of a country, you get 15 palaces, right? You need one in every city. And then after like 10 years, you need a new one in that same city, right? So, there's also a large population of Hindus who began to revolt against their Muslim rulers, so clearly the divine faith did not help, right? So while it did help that he allowed people to practice their religion as they wished, eventually there's a little tear in your society and you get a revolt, right? So finally, in the 1700s, Great Britain took advantage of this and conquered India. India was then a colony of England until the mid 1900s.
It's like that export, like Canadian.
But hey, this empire changes India because most people don't know this, because if you ask people what the largest population Muslim country in the world is, almost everybody says Saudi Arabia. India to this day has the largest Muslim population in the world.
Pakistan's up there as well.
Pakistan would break away, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh.
They got you.
Well, they tried to break India into Pakistan and Bangladesh, but the way that the Great Britain divided up India was not good.
Yeah, next year when you get to war, after World War I, they set up a bunch, after World War I and World War II, Britain does a great job of breaking things into pieces.
Great is one way to put it, for sure. So, conclusions.
It doesn't mean good, this means big.
Yeah. These three gunpowder empires contributed a lot to law, art, and religion, specifically through Islam, right? But their decline by the 1800s allowed industrialized nations to come in and take over, right? So that is the end of the gunpowder empire. So go ahead if you would like. If you have stuff that is missing, you can do it real quick. If not, you can work on notes.
Noon, you want it in. If I don't have it by noon, it doesn't go in.
Sound good?
Or at least
If
on
you'd
this-
like to take a nap, go for it, because I would like to do that as well. I'm not going to. I wish I could, but I cannot.
Rather back and they were back and forth.
Ask me for a soccer. He's in Arsenal.
You Arsenal? You got soccer kid?
Did you see Arsenal get whooped by me?
You see
What do you
last,
mean by that?
see the last season.
That whole 1-1? Oh, I thought it was 3-1.
I like the years in the Champions League, whenever
Yeah, that's it.
You could probably name more violent people that I can even stop.
Saliba. There you go. And White. Aaron Timber. Gabriel Ganesh. Fiordi. Russell Skilly. Udegaard.
Does anybody else need to make up the task?
I didn't know we were.
Heck yeah, dude.
Oh, the Mughal thingy?
Mughal.
Mughal, do you have a
You.
I thought I already did that.
guy?
Back to that.
We're going all time now. Thierry Henry.
Schweinsteiger.
Patrick Vieira.
Bert Muller.
Lord Nicholas Bentner. Look him up. He's a very funny guy. Sol Campbell, the traitor. Mesut Ozil.
You just showed up.
Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain? Jack Wilshere?
No, I can't.
Did you try to high jump?
Huh?
I can't.
That would've been funny. Everybody's seen that.
Okay, how about you? Let's see if we can name more soccer
You
players.
should have some ups. No, I'm talking about him. He should have some ups. I've seen you jump up and catch balls. You should be able to jump out.
No, we're doing current.
What?
We're doing current.
What? Okay. Wait. Okay, then you go back. So it's my turn.
One of the things we're doing is giving out uniforms so we can get a picture.
Right there.
I guess I'm part of the win.
Might get a little slap. No, keep it.
It was funny as all the time.
He's a mom. Oh, I can see